right, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Lawns Across America. This one coming to you on August 10th of 2023. Got a special episode this week. My friend Mike Bowman, you guys will know him as Bermuda Grass Central, BYD, the big yard dog, DAWG. BYD. He came in town this week and hung out with us. Got to do a collab, came over, hung out in my lawn, and we did some content on St. Augustine grass. You know, if you ever been with Mike, he is a content machine. He's got cameras running. Either his son or his wife is holding a camera, sometimes both. He's got a camera going. He never misses anything. And he's just a master at really taking content on the fly and getting it done and getting it produced and getting it put out quick. If you go to his Instagram, look it up, Bermuda Grass Central, you'll see actually a lot of what we did, including our duet of Ebony and Ivory. So check that out on Bermuda Grass Central on Instagram. But Mike and I, we've been friends for a few years now, and Yard Mastery, we sponsor him. We have for the last couple years. We also sponsor him to come to the GIE Expo. We get his room for him every year and his family, and so he comes in. And so it's just fun to hang out with Mike. And this time he came here, and we also went out and did a podcast, which you're going to hear in a few minutes. It's going to be super interesting. We kind of go into his life in YouTube, some of the things that he does there and his thoughts on that, how he's doing. A lot of people don't know, but he's got a business where he actually takes care of lawns, so we talk a little bit about that. We get into robot mowers and equipment and some thoughts on that and how it works with Bermuda grass. So just a really interesting conversation, but some other things we did, took him to our favorite restaurant in downtown Bradenton. It's called O'Bricks, if you ever come here. Legit, some of the best, freshest seafood that you're going to get is at O'Bricks, and they prepare it really well and nicely. I also like to get people to try our local fish dip. If you ever come to the Tampa Bay area, at least the west coast of Florida, coastal cities like St. Pete up to Tarpon Springs in that area, and then down here into Bradenton and Sarasota, a regional thing is most restaurants will have fish dip or fish spread, and it's usually smoked. But they all have their own little flair to it. If you think about the way people prepare tuna fish, right? Some people like a lot of mayonnaise, some people don't. Some people put celery and onion, some people don't. Some people put even relish in there to give it a little bit of a tang. Everybody kind of has their own way they like their tuna fish. Well, here we do smoked fish dip, and every restaurant has their own spin on it. And I always like to let people try that. It's one of my favorite things to do. And so we got to try the fish dip at O'Bricks, and also over at the Woody's Riveroo. And so just a great time having him in town. But the highlight was really when we went fishing. I like to take people that come here, my friends, I like to take them out fishing, show them a good time. Now, I'm not a fisherman. I just go out with the right people so I get the best picture for Instagram, so people think I'm an outdoorsman when I'm really not. And so I go with Island Lure Fishing. That's L-U-R-E, Island Lure, Captain Gene. This time we actually went out with one of his partners, Captain Aaron, and he put us on the snook. It's one of the game fish that people come here to catch them on the flats. We're only fishing like 2-3 feet of water, and snook, they just hammer that bait. We use live bait. And again, that's part of going with a captain that's a charter captain. He gets all the live bait for you. You don't even have to cast if you don't want to. Now, we enjoy casting, but you don't even have to. He'll throw it right on the fish for you. All you got to do is reel it in. But again, snook are fun. They're a good fighter for their size. Now, they get pretty big. Brett caught a 27-inch, which is pretty big. I mean, you get something in the 30s, you're looking at like lifetime fish. Even a 27-incher, a lot of people wait their whole life to catch something that big. Average, 12 to 15, 16, but they're fun. They jump out of the water like a bass, so a lot of people will call them saltwater bass, but they're just fun, and we were on them. But what really came out was Mike. Now Mike's a Gen Xer. He's an 80s kid like me. He's 53. I just turned 50 this year. So we're cut from that same cloth where we're kind of sarcastic about the world, and he is a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun cutting up, but one thing we saw was his competitive nature, and that was on display as he kept count of every single fish he caught, and every time he caught one, he updated his number loudly to everyone around, as well as made all of us update our number as to where we are, especially if you were behind him, he would actually have you repeat it. So me, I was behind all day. I only caught 6 on the day. I'm not the greatest fisherman. Again, I just enjoy being out on the water. I only caught 6. Now, there was a time where I caught 3 in a row within about 5 minutes, and Mike came over as I was changing bait and stole my spot. And then I think he added 5 or 6 to his count in just a few minutes. So nobody's going to take any blame there, but I did think that needed to be pointed out. But I think Mike ended the day with with 20 something. Brett actually won though. I think he was 24 or 5. 25 snook. Brett actually caught another. He caught a small trout, and I think he may have got on. What else did he get on? I don't know. But everybody else caught snook. 27-inch being the biggest. BYD did get the second largest. Chris, his son, went with us. I think he was in the 20s also. Again, I was down there around 6. But it was just fun to see Mike get real competitive there and have a good time. He was flat, wore out, though, when he was done. I mean, you're in Florida. We're done fishing. We start at 8 a.m. We're done by noon. We're back at the dock and, back in Bradenton by 1. And I think he went right to bed after that. I'm like, bro, you're in Florida. You got to go out and see the sunset. No, he went right to bed. So we flat wore him out. But it was a good time. Really enjoyed having Mike in town and his family. And again, I think you're going to enjoy this podcast. Hear a little bit more about one of your favorite YouTubers, 89,000 subscribers, Bermuda Grass Central. Here's my interview. And Brett joined us too for a good conversation. Here's our interview with Michael Bowman, the Big Yard Dog.
Welcome to the BYD podcast.
Nah, I'm on Allen's what's called, but I will say at the end, you're tuned into Bermuda Grass Central with BYD. This is Michael Bowman, and I'll talk to you soon or later. What did I say? I don't think it's soon. It's later.
You don't even know. You don't even know your own.
I forgot
Your trademark.
Hey, listen. Since I've been doing IG, I didn't abandon YouTube.
Have you really?
What, Instagram? Once a month.
You're going on that like Mark Rober schedule.
Yeah.
A couple videos a year.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But Instagram, I do what, 3? Well, 2.
You live on Instagram, man.
2 to 5 a day.
I see my whole Instagram feed, BYD.
So how has that been for you? Have you grown your following on there better?
Way better than I did at first.
You get better interactions, right, on Instagram? More ways to connect
with
people?
You get more, you reach more. It's going to depend on, it just depends. But I did it I got almost 1,000 videos on YouTube. All right, so that infrastructure is set. So I'm trying to build my IG infrastructure also.
And the more you hammer Instagram, man, the more their algorithm pushes hard.
And that's what's been happening lately.
Well, man, you're up to 45,000 followers, dude.
And I started at the beginning of this year, 16.
Man, that's good. That hard work paying off.
Yeah. So I try to explain to people the difference between, and I'm not taking shots at other guys on Instagram, but my channel is a real lawn care channel. I do funny videos. I like to laugh too, but most of it is educational, and it's for people really trying to learn about lawn care versus the gimmicks. And you get what I'm saying?
Well, right. When you go to the store, like you go through the whole shelf. Let me tell you, this is a product you're going to see on the shelf. Let me tell you what it's for. Let me tell you how you use it.
And there's really not anybody else doing that.
No.
I see.
Not. Now, since the algorithm has picked me up, you'll start seeing more of the other guys start trying to do.
Well, I mean, that's how it is with anything, right?
Yeah.
Anytime somebody sees somebody successful, all of a sudden you see, okay, well, here's another BYD. And here's another and another.
Exactly.
That's just generally what people do, unfortunately. Just chasing trends.
Yeah, but mine is I'm more passionate about it.
Well, you've been doing it for how long now?
Man.
How long have you been doing social media?
Well, just your channel, like your Bermuda Grass Central.
Bermuda Grass Central, I want to say about 7 years ago.
That's when you started it?
No, I actually started maybe 1 or 2 years before that.
So 2016-ish?
I'm gonna somewhere around now.
What was your original goal? Like, what inspired you to do it, and what did you think you would be doing originally? Because I know it's changed now, but
this is what inspired me.
Okay.
I was watching YouTube, and YouTube was fairly new then. It's not like it's 30 years old.
Right. No, 2015, 2016, it was the Wild West on YouTube.
Exactly.
You never knew what you're going to see.
So a couple of guys popped up in my feed because I was always searching lawn care, this and that.
There's your first video, by the way.
And that's my daughters when they was at a...
it says 10 years ago.
10 years ago at a private school. All right. And just so you know, I used to do wave hair videos.
Wave hair videos? Wait a minute. Okay, now we're talking.
All right, I deleted all those.
We need to do a deep dive into the BYD.
How do you do waves in hair? Is this where you have to put a cap over top so the waves don't get spoiled?
Listen, I wish I could put his head in here, but yeah, I used to have a lot of waves. I was younger then. Showing you how to get waves and stocking caps and all that stuff, but that was a passion.
Is that what a do rag is?
That's what a do rag is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matter of fact, he just took his off. But that's why I started. You popped up, and I'll just tell you who else I used to watch. Matt Martin back in the day, long time ago. Jason Creel.
Yeah.
I want to say Spencer Lawn Care.
Yeah, Spencer's been around since the real early days.
Yeah, Spencer and yours. But yours gravitated towards me more because it was more believable.
Well, I've always gone towards DIY. All the other guys you named, they're pros, right?
Okay.
They were in here. Did you ever used to watch The Freak? Remember the lawn freak? He'd say, don't be scared. Don't be scared. He was in like Missouri or where he was the original.
Okay.
I thought, wasn't Keith Caliphas there? Wasn't he?
He's been there a long time.
Okay.
But Greg is the lawn freak. And he's been there the longest.
Okay. But you guys inspired me. But the reason I drove further was, and rest in peace, my friend Eric, who used to work with me. I showed him your video, and he was like, man, you should be doing that. You know everything about it. Now, when I first started, I went DIY. I was DIY, but I was using pro chemicals on showing the average person on how to use them. All right. Got some flack about that, so I flipped the game. I'm going to take you in the store and show you the stuff that anybody can get. Your 98-year-old grandmama, she can do it, anybody. So that's my focus. I do some higher grade chemicals, but it's rare that you see my channel that I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's all things that are accessible at stores.
You can get or order online.
Yep. So question about that for you. Do you get pushback? Because you're Bermuda Grass Central. You are Bermuda Grass focused.
Yep.
Bermuda is mostly southeast, so Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, and then like into Texas, right?
Into Texas.
Do you get pushback from people or complaints from people that say, hey, you go into Lowe's, you go into Home Depot, you go into Walmart.
Yep.
I can't ever find what you're showing.
All right, about that. One thing I tell people, what's the name of the channel? Bermuda Grass Central. So a lot of stuff I talk about may be regional.
Right.
All right. Now, this is how I know my reach is reaching out. When I have people in Indiana, Missouri, Chicago wanting to plant Bermuda grass. Do you get what I'm saying? Because they
just don't know. Sure.
They don't know. But I had to keep explaining to them. So when I sometimes I say in the videos, you may not find this where you stay at. All right. And then a lot of chemicals, depending on what region you go into, just like we down here, I'll find more chemicals for St. Augustine.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because that's mainly what we have.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you go through a neighborhood down here, there's a lot of neighborhoods down here that the HOA says that you have to have St. Augustine grass.
Yeah.
But neighborhoods that don't have that, you might see one yard that has Bermuda.
Exactly.
Or zoysia. You'll see some zoysia.
There's more. There's more
zoysia down here than you see.
You do in the newer subdivision, especially here in Lakewood Ranch. Lots of zoysia lawns here because they were sold on the fact that it takes less water, which is not the case, but that's what they were sold on. So,
but I mean, you very, very rarely see Bermuda here. Where if you go up to where you're at in Atlanta,
that's all.
I mean, if you see grass other than Bermuda grass,
they put that down.
You're like, where did that come from?
Now, it's a few neighborhoods, I will say, like in Noonan, Georgia, where that whole subdivision is zoysia.
Yeah.
But that's these $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes, and that's a HOA standard. But 95% is going to be Bermuda grass, Tifway 419 most likely.
Right.
Because that one stood the test of time. And by the way, that's what's in my front yard.
Yeah, what's the new stuff you just got?
Okay, in the backyard, that's and it's sponsored by Legacy Turf Farms.
Yeah, they're really nice people.
Cartersville, Georgia.
Is that how you say that? Cartersville? Cartersville, huh?
But
okay, all right.
And Devin Phillips,
she's
director there, she reached out and they actually sponsored the whole entire backyard. Well, not the whole entire, but the part that wasn't growing. That's Tahoma 31 Bermuda Grass.
And what's supposed to be so cool about Tahoma 31?
Well, it was free for me.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool.
That
makes it that number one cool thing about it.
That was a plus, but it's more drought resistant.
Okay.
More shade tolerant.
It's darker than the 419, right?
That's what I care about.
Okay, that's true. But after I put the double dark down on my Tifway 419, did you see how much darker it got?
I mean,
it did get.
You're hammering yours with the iron and the nitrogen to make it dark, anyways.
Yeah.
But
Now, wait a minute. Now, having said that, I did not put any double dark on the 31.
Right.
I had to go with a 12
right.
starter
but
to get it going.
I'm saying I think just in general, it's if you're doing. If you're not hammering it with iron or anything like that, I think generally speaking, Tahoma is going to have a little bit darker.
And a more fuller look. Is that a word? Did I make that up?
How is the blade texture compared to like a 419? Is it thinner? Is it a wider blade?
No, it's a tad bit wider. Here's the thing: the average person won't know looking at that stuff.
Right.
They won't be able to tell. It's a tad bit thicker, but I just got it.
Right.
So I got to see how it behaves over.
Right. I mean, you haven't gone through a whole growing
how many
season.
times have you cut it so far?
Probably about 20.
Okay, so it's definitely rooted in. Yeah. I'm on the website here, and it says it's developed by turfgrass experts at Oklahoma State University. Derives its name from the Native American Tahoma, which means frozen water. And test after test, Tahoma 31 shows its exceptional winter hardiness. Tested up to 75% more cold tolerant than other Bermuda grass varieties. Because that's the challenge, right? Even in Georgia, you guys get cold weather in the winter. And so we've talked about this before. Your grass doesn't even green up until what, May 1st?
Mid-May.
Yeah. So apparently this is supposed to be cold hardier, so it should green up faster in the spring. So you're going to really see it going into next
year. So that'll be the real test is to see how it does, how the front yard versus the backyard greens up.
Now, bear in mind, my backyard is pretty much shade.
I was going to say, you get a lot more shade.
And I got a lot more shade.
So you got trees in the back and house in front, right?
Let me tell you, you could actually see the Bermuda 419 reach out in mid-July, June, July, kind of in August, and then you can see it start to fade back because of the trees.
Right.
So my hope was that me putting that Tahoma 31 back there, that it could tolerate the shade, and I can just green up a little bit earlier, because when I'm not greening up back there, it's all dirt.
Right.
So I don't hide my video. I don't hide my yard. I show everybody, but it's still an eyesore.
Well, that's the challenge with Bermuda. Brett's Bermuda was it last year?
I was just about to bring that up. So I have at my house, I have a section of my Bermuda that really only gets direct sunlight when the sun is directly overhead.
Okay.
Because I have a big oak tree in the front and then the house. And so in between that area, there's a section that only gets probably 3 or 4 hours of direct sunlight.
Is that 419?
It's Bimini.
That's a big one here in Florida. Bethel Farms.
Yeah, it's a newer cultivar. And I love the look of it. It's really, really dark. But it does not do well when on especially during the winter. The
days are short.
The shorter days. Yeah. It gets thin through there. Like you said, I mean, to where you can, if you're standing over it and you look down, you can see dirt.
Now, where I seeded back there, the store-bought seeds, common seeds, that area used to, like you said, be so thin in the winter. You could see the ground, and you see dead stolons. Well, I'm not going to say dead, but just inactive stolons laying across the ground. The 419 would just go dormant brown. But you couldn't see through it. It still stayed thick throughout the whole time. Now, that's the perfect time to start taking it down, prepping for next year. But I don't do it all at once. But go back to what you were saying. Yeah, the old grass I had back there that I planted, you could actually see the ground when it got cold back there. But the regular 419 sod stayed just dormant brown.
Now, right. Do you do a summer scalp on your lawn? Or
this will be the first year that I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And here's why. I'm always testing. All right. Junior's sick of me telling him to cut the grass every 2-3 days or whatever. He's sick of it. He can't stand it. But I always tell people you have to keep your Bermuda grass cut. So when people buy it, they don't understand the characteristics of it. 80% of the country watches lawn care videos, but they get caught up in the northern lawn care, not the Bermuda grass lawn care.
And it's a completely different beast.
It's totally different grasses.
It's the stuff that gets preached for cool season grass is counterintuitive to what you need to be doing.
It's literally the opposite.
Like
it's totally the opposite, right?
I mean, other than mowing frequently, you got to mow frequent.
Water, fertilizer,
if you
want that.
If you want your grass to be healthy, you got to water it. You got to mow frequently. That kind of thing. It holds true across the board. But for Bermuda grass and zoysia grass, your height of cut is completely different.
Now, having said that, that's what the people are used to. So now I go to yards, they got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches Bermuda. And it is. And they'll say, I'm not going to say somebody's name, but they'll say, well, the other guy said that it should be 4 inches. What kind of grass does it have?
People don't realize that, though, on the internet. They just don't.
They don't.
I think we got to realize that, that's what we're in, we're in the education business. And so we educate people and help them. I see it all the time. People from up north are all moving down here to Florida, and I get emails or I'll see them in groups. I had the best looking lawn up north, and I came down here, and I just can't figure it out.
Okay.
And it's because they don't know. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. We got to change the whole approach because and down here where we're at, south of the frost line, lawns don't necessarily even go dormant. So you're year round. And our dry period when we need to water is the winter. Right now, it rains every day in the afternoon. Now, we're in severe drought here.
Did you guys see my story? I just posted on IG.
Did you get caught in a rainstorm or something?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah,
I was playing. It never rains in Southern California, but it rained. And then I showed another clip 5 minutes later. Summertime.
We get
sun out.
I mean, that's our normal pattern.
When it rains, it rains
hard.
Yeah. It did. It rained till she was like, "Oh my God, tell Alan he can have this."
It's the tropics. That's where we are. But that's why you don't have to water. You water in the winter instead of the summer. Where up north, it's completely different. So it's just part of the challenge. What about, do you get rain in Georgia this time of year? Is it fairly common?
It depends on the year, but it's scarce right now.
Okay.
I think the last time I got some rain was, I want to say a week ago.
What's your rainy season considered to
February, March.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Then after that, just depend, like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, both seasons, it rained all summer long. They had to worry about watering my yard. Most people don't understand that that Bermuda grass is, when they keep telling you it's drought resistant, it's drought tolerant. You cannot go months without rain on Bermuda grass because it's going to go summer dormant in the summer.
Right.
All right. So the people in Texas are always, I should move to Texas, but they always reaching out to me about, why is yours still green? So I train my grass by me stretching it out with the hydrotain, of course. By the way, it's available at yardmastery.com.
Thanks for the pitch.
There
click
you go.
click BYD's link.
A real pro.
To ship faster.
To ship faster.
Hey, I look at those orders. I'm like, oh, that's a BYD order?
Yeah,
I got you.
We got to get this on out of here. But the hydrotain, mowing frequently, and stretching out. I hadn't watered my yard. Only time I watered my yard in the last 3 years is when I put that new sod back there. So if we go 4 weeks without rain, I may water just once to make sure the roots don't go completely summer dormant. But other than that, I don't water my yard. Now, how's it staying green? Consistent mowing. I keep that, because the shorter the blade on Bermuda grass, don't listen to what I'm telling you guys. It needs less water. The taller your Bermuda grass, it needs more water.
That makes sense. Bigger plant to support.
Exactly. And it's all the juice is going to be at the tip. Mm-hmm. So the guys who cut 3, 4, 5 inches, when they do decide to come down, it's brown.
Yeah, because they're cutting into the legs. So you're saying by keeping yours really low, I mean, I would assume that encourages deeper roots too. So
in the Bermuda grass in Georgia, Bermuda grass period, summertime, in the spring, summertime is when the roots going to push their deepest. All right. Comes fall, winter, it's the opposite of the cool season grass. The roots are not pushing. they actually shrink up. But
really?
you want healthier grass, though, when that comes about. That's why I preach the 7-0-20 with the potash or potassium to strengthen those roots to help you push through the winter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the odd. Find any grass chart. You'll see the only time warm season, Bermuda and Georgia, is the deepest pushes in the summer. That's as long as it's healthy now and you water it. And then the winter, fall, it's not pushing. You guys preach, not you guys, but the guys up north will preach. This is when your healthiest time to make the roots go the deepest, all this and that fall. I'm not so much sure about winter.
I don't recommend doing anything to Bermuda in winter, really.
No, I'm talking about cool season lawns.
Oh, cool season? Well, yeah, they're dormant in winter, too.
Yeah, but they always talk about root development is deeper when it's going into the fall.
In the fall for cool season lawns,
All
yeah.
right, but it's the opposite of Bermuda grass. So
Yeah, it's all summer.
keeping it cut low reduces the watering requirements. Nobody is understanding this because everybody's preaching just the opposite. If you have a Bermuda lawn, keep it cut low. Now, when I say low as you can go without scalping it. There are no perfect lawns just off the rip. Most of the guys have to do lawn leveling, all this and that.
Yeah, because that's the issue. I see that all the time in Bermuda. Guys they're mowing low, and then after they mow, they're like, "Why do I always get these brown spots?" Like, well, you got to get down.
Look,
you're cutting into the legs.
Yep.
So you probably need to do some leveling at that point, or put some sand in there or something.
Or maybe roll it when it's early spring when the ground is not as hard. But the average homeowner is not going to do all that.
And see, so speaking of soil, you have that Georgia red clay.
GA red clay.
Yeah, tell me. I mean, people like clay soil is pretty much in a lot of parts of the country. It's just gray in most places, like up north.
They don't make
clay.
They don't make clay the same in Georgia, though.
So tell me, what is? I've seen it driving, but I don't know. I've never touched it or played with it.
If you touch it, it's gonna stain your finger. It's gonna stain your clothes. It's just the environment. People in Texas got hard baked clay soil because when the heat a lot, it's just I don't know. God designed it like that. I'm just gonna put clay in these certain areas, but that grass is real hard. That's another reason people struggle with it in Georgia, the Bermuda grass, because they don't understand the care. Go back to my training. If you keep watering your yard every other day, the roots will just grow shallow because they are trained to get water.
Yeah, they don't need to grow deep.
Exactly. Whereas I stress my yard, I force my grass to react a certain way.
Yeah, just like training a person,
Exactly.
like training a bodybuilder or a fighter.
So when you got that Georgia clay, the deeper you can get your roots, the better it's going to be for your grass. But the issue is if you're not adding lime, what's the other one? Gypsum, stuff like that to help loosen it up a little bit so to get deeper. You just may have an issue all the time. And I always get loaded questions. Well, I want my yard green. I want this and that. But it's not going to be the same for everybody. It's just not. Every yard I service, I got some yards never put fertilizer down. We mulch. Y'all looks almost as good. I'm not gonna say I got BYD yard. Looks close. You know what I'm saying? Looks good. Looks good. But then I got some what they are fertilized. They got True Green coming out, this and that, and the guys at True Green just can't get it done like they want it done. Now True Green, I know I'm jumping subject. That's a big company. And they get it right most of the time, or they wouldn't be making what they're making. So when I hear people complaining, I know it's just a few, but that's what get pushed out there a lot.
Yeah, what it is, there's a couple things with True Green. And I haven't worked there in a lot of years, but there's two things. Number one, the main one is it's really about the lawn technician and his experience level and how much time he's going to take.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing.
Yep.
So proper applications. And then the second one is they pretty much have a basic program. And so most lawns in the area will respond to that basic program that they have, a regional program.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for something more, they're not going to give it to you. Like if you're like, I want a little more nitrogen because I want mine to be greener.
Nope.
It just doesn't. They don't have a way to do that.
When the technician loads the truck up, or when they load the truck up, all these 300 yards will get the same fertilizer.
Correct. And at the same rate, they have spreader locks.
Yep.
And that's fine. I get it. They're a business. They have to watch profitability. So that's their job. They get out, they do the application. They're pretty good at killing weeds. That's it.
Yep.
But if you want that double dark green lawn, they don't promise that either.
No, they don't.
You know, that's
I
why
told
the
one lady
DIYers.
they got one job. That's to come out here, fertilize it, make it green as possible, and they move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, you got Bermuda grass. You're getting it cut every 2 weeks. They just put a 34 double O down there. It's raining 2 weeks straight. Your grass is going to be super tall. Your lawn care guy came. He normally cuts it at a certain height. It's brown. So that's what you're running into.
I can't. So people with Bermuda grass do every 2 week cuts.
In Georgia, that's the standard.
Is it really? Oh, see,
Yeah.
I didn't. So
Not DIYers.
No.
Right.
I'm
But-
talking about home up north. There are people that will ask for an every other week cut, and they'll get it, but and it's okay because it's a different kind of grass. But most of your lawn professionals stray away from that. They'll take those customers in the beginning.
Yep.
But it's terrible for the lawn. But I would assume that with Bermuda grass in the summer, if you're mowing every 2 weeks, I mean, it must just be scalped into the legs every time because it grows so fast.
It depends on what they fertilize it with also.
But
I
that is
put
the
it to
standard,
you
huh?
like this. A lot of my customers, I recommend you don't fertilize your yard.
Not if you're only getting a cut every 2 weeks. Jeez.
Exactly. Do it just the basic, once in the summer, once in the spring, and once mid-fall. Don't do what you see me doing on my video, feeding it every month, every 45 days. Those are for the enthusiasts.
Right.
So if you stretch out the fertilizing, then we can manage the cuts better. But I've turned away many customers when we pull up, and Junior be sitting there. He was like, "Please tell me you're not about to take this job," because you could tell it's been over fertilized. Then I ask key questions: Who fertilized it? Oh, well, my husband did it, and he put a 34 such and such. His dad showed me the bag, and I was like, "Okay, how many times you do this?" Well, he did it like 4 times this year. I said, "Ma'am, this bag says it covers 15,000 square feet. You got 5,000 square feet. He's putting a whole bag each time he's fertilized." They don't understand on how
that grass got to be cut every other day.
Yeah, man, then you turn those away.
So
I'm sorry.
for your commercial customers, are you offering bi-weekly, or are you doing
No.
many bi-weeklies, or is it all
Just-
weekly?
No, it's every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
It's rare that I find. Only time I get a customer who wants to cut the next week is I got Alan on the schedule. All right. The way I operate, I don't call you. We don't set up appointments. You know, every 2 weeks we are coming out to cut your yard. I don't wait 2, 3, 4 days for payment. Payment is due that day or that morning, the next morning. And the reason we have to do that because we have to stay on a certain schedule. So I just cut your yard Friday, but you having a barbecue next Friday. That's the only time I get a call back about, can you come cut it again? Because I got now. Sometimes that alters the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Then sometimes I tell them, I'm coming again next week because I can't afford to drive across town to get 1 yard when I got 6 in this area.
Yeah, that's just your route density. About how
So-
many customers do you have now?
I used to have about 30. I think we didn't cut it down to about 15 maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm looking for special customers. I'm not looking for guys who want to pay $50 and get a quick cut. You heard me mention it, premium cuts.
Yep.
Yeah, so the premium cuts, what that is I treat your yard like it's mine. So when it normally would take 45 minutes to do a yard, it may take me an hour and a half to do yours. We detail. I don't look for the $50 cut 20 yards a day. I just want to do 10 yards a day. I'm making up dollar amounts at $90, and I just made $900. Versus you cut 20 yards to make $1,000.
Yeah, I get it. Makes
So
sense.
what does that mean you're doing? You're rushing. So what happens if it rains 3-4 days? You can't keep up with your schedule.
Right. Yeah, right. How do you catch up?
You can't. You rush.
Yeah, you
cut.
lose 'em.
Yeah,
You're
you're
losing.
gonna lose them.
Because it's just the two of you,
Just the two.
right? So, yeah. If you get rain,
They're
3-4
bigger
days,
properties too, right? Pretty large properties.
I don't take on big properties. I take on anything 0.3, maybe a half an acre in that area.
Okay.
I don't go for 1-2 acres. It's too much property. So the lawn care industry is changing. And this is why I keep telling the guys who are in it. In my area, you don't see guys who are riding around with crews. It's 1 or 2 guys. That's it. And the reason they're doing that is because they can't afford. Junior making $50 an hour. He ain't making that, but he's making a pretty good amount. You get what I'm saying? So who can afford? I'm not gonna say who, but most guys can't afford to pay everybody $25 an hour. You got 5 people working for you.
Right.
So that's $125 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
When you charging $80 to $100 to cut yards. So when you stretch out to the bigger 1 acre properties, this and that, yeah, you might get $300-$400, but you can't take 20 or 30 of those. People don't want to pay the price for lawn care.
That's why the guys that have crews, they go into commercial. They'll do like,
Exactly.
subdivisions and HOAs, and, banks,
and
stuff like that.
When you bring on a crew, you understand you're bringing on more potential issues too, right?
A lot more potential issues.
Because you say, well, I know he lives with me. I know where he is.
Exactly.
I know he's not out the night before getting hammered.
Yeah, most of the time, unless I'm with him.
Or you're right, but but you can control that. You start dealing with other people outside of your control, and you don't know. I mean, oh, my car broke down. Oh, well, I don't feel good. Or
they don't have the vision that you have.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Right,
yeah, that's the hardest thing to scale
that too.
up.
Yeah,
and I see that where a small guy starts to scale. I see that a lot. Where this dude, he used to be, all of his yards used to look A+, right?
On point.
Well, he said, Al started recommending me, and now his neighbor's getting mowed, and his neighbor's getting mowed, and I got to bring somebody on. Well, I'm not controlling that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not mowing that lawn myself, and
your cut quality is gonna go down.
This dude, he doesn't care. He
Not at all.
I mean, he
Well,
says it's a job.
Yeah, it's a hard job too. It's not like people are like, yeah, I want to cut grass for a living.
Okay.
It's not,
On my Instagram, did you see why I brought the tent and all that stuff? So we got to a bigger property. It's a church I cut. That one is pretty big. But normally it takes me and Junior, I don't know, hour, 30 minutes or so. Well, it was overgrown. So I already knew it was going to be a 3-hour job. So I had to put a tent up, cooler, make the working conditions better. So we can go back and forth. When it's hot like this, if I got 10 scheduled, I'm not cutting 10 yards. I got to reduce it to 5 or 6. So we can get out that heat. The guys who take on volume, they can't reduce. So if you can't reduce, you run your workers in the ground. They quit because most of them won't be making $20, $25 an hour.
Or they can make $20 an hour at Walmart as a cashier.
That too.
So, or a stalker.
Yeah,
or
and get benefits because a lot of these landscape companies can't offer you benefits. They can offer you a salary, and that's pretty much it.
This has been the biggest challenge is scaling a business up.
Yep.
That's why there's so many guys that are just single operators because it's really a challenge to get from that. Some of the biggest challenges are to get from that 1 to 2 trucks or 3 truck crews, and then once you get past $1 million in revenue, those are like the 2 biggest, hurdles.
I know a guy who makes over $1 million. I met him in Noonan. I said, "You're doing good." He said, "I do about 1.4 million." Mm-hmm. He said, "I don't see that." He said, "I make about 140 myself."
Right,
and that's
all the rest is an expense.
Right,
yeah.
I think that's the disconnect that a lot of people have.
Yeah,
they think, oh well, you own $1 million company, you're a millionaire.
No,
well, no, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
like you got overhead, you got costs, and as you increase revenue, all of your costs, all of your overhead increases as well.
That young landscaper I was talking to, he said, "Well, you got any advice for me being young?" I said, "If I were you, you can go hard while you're young. But once you get married or you have kids, you're going to have to kind of reduce that because you got to share that time with everybody." That's why I got a whole family here now, -2. But you get what I'm saying?
Right.
I told him, you need to take half of your earnings and you just got to start saving it here, saving it there. The equipment is only going to last 4 or 5 good years. After that, it's going to be a patch job. So you want to be able to transition over to the new equipment without having to always take out loans for it. Now, people say, well, you can write that off on your taxes. But, yeah, you still owe somebody.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't like being in debt.
Exactly. So why not I'm making up a dollar amount, but if you're making $100,000 as a single landscaper, why not just make 60 and the other 40 goes to tool repair, new equipment, upgrades, stuff like that. You got to take a vacation every now and then, stuff like that, and don't overload yourself.
Well, that's why when I talk to people, if they ask me, I say, don't get into the maintenance business. Get into the fertilizing and weed control business.
Yeah.
Because you can, a 5,000 square foot lawn, if you're using liquids, you can run over that in like 7 minutes.
Okay. Now,
and be in and out. You know what I'm saying? And if you do electronic billing, you don't even need to you can just go spray the lawn. Maybe you have to go back and touch up some weeds, get in your truck, send the invoice, and and for that 5,000 square foot property, you could probably charge $65 or $70 for a FERD app.
Yep.
That took you 7 minutes. And so your labor cost is now reduced. You're not buying big lawnmowers and everything. Now you do have chemical cost that you got to manage. And that is what gets most of those guys is the chemical cost, because they buy every chemical that they think they need to cure every single problem in every lawn.
Yep.
And it's like, no. You don't need to be True Green. I mentioned this in the podcast recently. You don't need to be True Green, which is like, hey, we have a cookie cutter program. If you don't fit in, too bad. But you also don't need to be the guy that's got 17 different choices of weed control and 7 fungicides and 10 insecticides, and he's mixing in the back of his truck. There's guys that do that. You'll never scale that way either. So there's the balance. Yeah. And that's the challenge with people nowadays. They're so extreme to everything. It's like, no, just balance in the middle. It's okay. You can't do everything perfect. You can't be 100% right on everything, but you can be better than the True Greens of the world, for example.
And
you can
that's even the average
DIY.
DIY. You can be better than True Green. I'm saying ChemLawn, but True Green, those guys. But go to what you were saying. When I get people contacting me about what kind of weed is this, what kind of weed is that, all right, I put a video out saying use your iPhone, scan it, and this and that, tell you that. But if you don't know what weed you have in your lawn, I try to make it simple. And I'm not getting paid by Spectricide. They should be paying me. I'm serious.
Listen up, Spectricide.
It's serious.
These billion-dollar companies getting all this free marketing
free
from little
marketing
YouTubers.
Forever. I just did a video on that too. I don't know if you saw it on Instagram. I said they don't want to pay the influencers.
I saw that one.
Yeah, but it's true. But go back to what I was saying. I started them off with Spectricide 470. If you don't know what weed is in your lawn, follow the label instructions.
Is that a Bermuda Grass weed control?
Yeah, Bermuda Grass, Zoysia,
Spectricide 470.
Fescue. I want to say perennial ryegrass.
So what is that? Like a 2,4-D?
2,4-D, quinclorac.
Okay, so just kind of a general
the kitchen sinking
broadleaf.
There you go. So you spray that on your yard.
That'll cover
pretty much
75% of your weeds.
The only thing you won't be knocking out is Dallas grass, poa.
Right, stuff that you need a
specialty for. But Alan, it's not waste time asking what every weed is in your lawn. Treat it with the basics, and then go try to figure it out.
Well, or what I tell people, because they'll be like, "Hey, this weed popped up yesterday. What is it?" I'm like, "Bro, just pull it.
Get rid of it." I had a guy asking me that. He had a few. Oh, what grass was that? I can't think of the name of it, but it's something that normally comes mid, something not crabgrass. And I told him, "Do you have a lot of them?" And he showed me the picture, 3-4 of them.
Pull those suckers out.
Yank them out.
Yeah, take a picture.
Said, but what if it breaks the root? Then worry about that later. But if the yard is full of them, then we got to worry about it.
People want the chemical first. Brett
we
and I
were talking about that this morning.
I've been using the terminology pharmaceuticals now because I'm trying to get to people's mind and their heart and be like, bro, stop going for the pharmaceutical to solve every single problem. I know that you've been conditioned that way.
Yeah.
Now, they're not pharmaceuticals, but I'm trying to use that as an analogy.
Yeah.
People want the chemical first. Buddy, why don't you just dig around in your lawn and see what you find? That's free.
Yeah.
You know?
Or when I tell them,
pull it.
How often are you cutting your grass?
Right. So that's the exact conversation we were having. Yeah. We were talking about how, so many times people reach for a medicine. Like, I've been depressed. Well, do you sleep enough? Are you eating healthy?
Are you working out?
Do you exercise?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in lawn care, right?
Yeah.
They say, hey, my lawn looks real bad. Okay, well, how often are you watering? How often are you mowing?
Yeah.
How often do you fertilize? Like, get the basic things that the lawn care 101. If you do those basic things and you're still experiencing a problem, well, then let's address it. But if you're saying, oh, well, I'm getting these brown spots. Well, when do you get those brown spots? Well, after I mow.
Yeah.
Well, how often are you mowing? Like, if you address the simple things, 9 times out of 10, you fix the problem.
Now, having said that, my transition at my age, I'm doing more consultations now than cutting yards. So the people that I have, I've been doing it for a while. I just really started talking about it on the Instagram channel. And been getting a lot of them. And most of the people, when I go talk to them, I show them the basics. And I say, if you do this for the next 2 months, you're going to see an improvement in your yard. Less weeds and everything. But when you asking me, what is this weed, and your grass is this tall, we got to address the lawn, the mowing stuff first.
There's no sense in even addressing that weed
that's what I tell them.
if you're not even going to mow your grass.
If you're not going to mow the yard,
get the basics done.
We can't just spray something on here and you got green grass. Well, my neighbor has 5-inch such and such. Then I said, wait till next year and see what his grass looks like.
So how receptive do you find people are to that?
The lawn consultations?
Yeah. Are they real receptive? Do they follow you?
Well, they believe you because you're.
That's why they call me, because they've seen one thing about my channel. I show you what I do.
Right.
It's not fake.
But are they receptive to that? Are they actually saying, hey, you know what?
Well,
because I mean I see people asking questions in Facebook groups and that kind of stuff, and a lot of times I feel like people are asking a question hoping that you're going to feed them a certain answer.
Okay, so wait a minute. What you just said, I just did one last week. I told her everything she didn't want to hear. She was like, well, you're not telling me what I want to hear. I said, I'm telling you the truth.
Right. So, and that's
not going to happen.
The problem, right?
Yeah.
I had a guy not too long ago. This guy, he drives past my house every single day.
Okay.
He always waves at me. Well, so one day he stops and he goes, "Hey man, my yard looks like crap.
Okay.
Would you come over and give me some pointers?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, man, no problem." So I ride over to his house, and he's asking all these questions. I'm giving him answers. And everything that I would say to him, he'd say, "Yeah, but
you got a
well, what if I do that?" And I, at the end of the conversation, I said, "Well, hey, man, look, if you don't want to do anything that I'm telling you, why did you even ask?"
I'm gonna tell you how I'd stop that. When I pull up, and I'm gonna use you, Alan. You're doing a consultation, and I ask key questions. Well, how did you find me? Well, I follow you on Instagram. Okay, I know I got to talk a certain way because I know how my Instagram content is different from my YouTube content. So I found you on Instagram. I said, all right, everything I'm about to tell you, there are no buts. If you do what I tell you to do, you will see results.
Right. So you're prefacing it right up front. You're just saying,
I'm not giving you an option to say, well, I was watching
but if
this channel, he said this and that you didn't call that channel out here. Now, having said that, if you do what I tell you to do, you're going to get great results. Will they be mine? No, because if you're not going to do every 3 cuts a week,
cool.
You get what I'm saying? Put this down, put that down at certain times. And I don't really put a lot of chemicals on my yard if you have paid attention. It's really strictly the fertilizer, the hydrotain, and I may do some Sunnyland Miners Blend every blue moon.
Right, because you understand – really, the basics are what gets you a good lawn, right?
Cut the grass.
Proper mowing.
Sharp blades.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if all you did was mow your grass frequently enough.
Didn't I tell you earlier in this podcast that I got yards that I mow that we don't fertilize or nothing, and it looks great?
And I guarantee you, if you mow your grass often enough, you will have a better lawn than 50% of lawns in your neighborhood.
Easily.
Yeah, but it's easier for me to throw down a chemical because that's how I've been conditioned in my life.
Right, that's the answer.
Working the lawn out, giving the lawn cardio by mowing it every 3 days. Yep. I don't want to do that. That's a lifestyle change for me. But throwing down a chemical,
me that too. Why mow it every 3 days? I said because the yard's gonna look better, and you're gonna be getting some exercises. Why do you cut 17,500 square feet a yard with a battery push mower? Exercise. The smaller lawnmower does better on my lawn because my lawn is bumpy. My zero turn will scalp It won't scalp if I go 2.5 inches.
Right, but on a lower, especially if there's any sort of gradual hill or incline or
so if you facing my house to the left, I got a slope, 0 turn, scalp marks all down through it. The little baby mower, no scalp marks. Battery mower, I don't need no gas, no spark plugs. I hadn't been looking at gas or spark plugs, none of that stuff for the last 3 years since I had a battery.
People don't realize that. So this is another one. These are all things I have listed up for my podcast to come up. But there's the whole gas and battery thing. When there was a discussion in our Facebook the other day that got a little nasty. You know, somebody was asking,
get real opinionated.
Yeah, people were asking questions. Well, a guy
Yeah.
had mentioned that a certain electric mower that he had, it didn't cut real well, and he was just asking for advice or whatever. And people were coming in, all that battery stuff is complete trash.
Yeah.
These are the terms they're using. I'm like,
Yeah,
do you realize what you
garbage.
said? Complete trash.
Blanket statements, right?
Yeah.
Like everything
They're so
is
black and
best.
white with everything. Like and what it is because somebody in California said no more gas mowers in the next 2 years. And so now it's politicized, and so people are ticked off at battery. But battery isn't the problem. Your politician in California is the problem. Go be mean,
That's what you
a
need
jerk
to
to
have
him.
argument with.
Yeah, we're not. I like battery because, like you said, I don't have to get gas anymore.
Yep.
I don't have to do that maintenance, and frankly, it's easier to throw a battery in. It just pop it in and go.
Right.
So, not to cut you off, but I cut year round. I just don't stop because I got leaves and stuff. We up mulching, great content in the fall. Ain't nobody watching videos but mine. But long story short, when winter ends and spring starts, Junior goes in the garage, put the battery in, push the button. He's on his way. My gas mower, I still got. We had to yank it 15 times to try to get the crank up. Then I still had to make sure I got it maintained before I put it up. I got a winterized video on the gas lawnmowers. The winterized for the battery is clean the deck, clean the bagger, put the lawnmower in the house or garage, not in the house, but the garage or your shed. I don't suggest shed if you stay up north where that condensation getting the wires. But put it up, take the battery out, put it in the house on the shelf after you charge it or half charge it, whatever they say. That's it. That gas one, I got to do that whole maintenance before I put it in storage.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I pull it out of storage, I got to do a slight mold maintenance on it because it may or may not crank up.
Right.
Most people don't even do that, though.
Right.
That's the thing.
And, well,
They
most people do, hey, I'm done for the winter. I put it in the garage, and then come springtime, I'm going to go,
and you can't
this
get the
thing
start.
sucks. I throw it away, and I go buy a new one.
Or they get lucky a couple years and it does start up because it happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, most people aren't sharpening their mower blade, any of that stuff. And this is why battery is easier. It's also better for people that, older folks or folks that have handicap. There's a lot of reasons why battery is good. It's not necessarily better than gas everywhere, but it's also not worse than gas everywhere.
Exactly.
And the argument I use is, guys, they want to talk about cut quality. I had a couple guys, I've never seen a battery mower that cuts well at all. And I'm like, well, have you ever seen a gas mower that doesn't cut well? I have. But on the flip side, if battery is the problem, I've used the Toro Super Recycler.
Works great.
That's correct. It cuts exactly the same whether you put a battery version one or a gas version one.
Okay.
Because the platform is the same. And that is the problem with some of the electric or the battery mowers. Their platform's not good. Not the power plant.
And talking about mowers that mow great, that zero turn Ego that Al has,
It does mow nice.
that mower mows so good.
It is so flat. You'll see. You'll use it today.
Yeah.
You can look across the lawn. It's like a laser flat. So nice.
I was super impressed by that mower.
Yeah. But a lot of people who argue the battery talk don't even own a battery mower.
Well, now, am I going to take that out as a commercial guy and mow 10, 20 lawns a day with it? No way. It's not made for that. I mow my lawn. It's got like 30% battery left. I mow mine and my neighbors. It's got 30% battery left when I'm done, and I should throw it on the charger, and that's it. That's what it does.
But they are making mowers that are built for that. So that tech's coming. That tech's advancing.
Affordability of those mowers is they got to bring it down.
What does let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. But what does the Toro, they're the main big battery. They converted their grandstand to a battery mower now, right?
Yeah.
So what's one of those costs with the battery?
about 34,000.
Okay, so 34,000. What's a grandstand cost with gas? Like 8,000 maybe?
Nah, I think
It's like
Toro is way more.
like
than that.
15?
About 14, 15,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the battery model is more than double the cost of the gas.
Yes.
Okay. I could buy my Ego. The Ego I have with the steering wheel, I think is like $6,000, but the basic Ego zero turn I think is 4,000. We'll just
Okay.
say 5,000 just to make the math easy.
All right.
So if I was going to buy a battery Toro for 34,000, I could have bought 7 Egos.
Yeah.
Now, do I think 7 Ego mowers is going to last longer than one Toro grandstand battery?
No.
All
Not-
day long, I bet it will.
Not out in the field.
You don't think 7 Egos will last longer than one Toro
Nah,
grandstand battery?
because the build quality is totally different.
We're talking
I
about
Man.
batteries though.
No.
I just in general.
I'm gonna give you an example.
It's all right. You can have it. I'm just asking.
If you like what my commercial equipment.
So I will say you have more experience on commercial equipment than either.
Yeah,
of us.
that's-
Okay.
So-
and battery right now, because I don't have a battery commercial, but I'm gonna tell you the pitfalls with commercial mowers. Like Toro has I think it's the Titan or something like that.
Yeah, I've had.
Right, that's
I own a
that's
Titan.
their prosumer.
That's
yeah,
a
I own
pro
one of those. They're
consumer.
nice. It's a very nice
All
mower.
right.
Cuts great.
The one that I have is strictly commercial.
Yeah, you have the commercial. Yep.
So they use certain components on the commercial that they don't use on the Home Pro. To take a Home Pro, to take a Home Pro out in the field versus a true commercial, just give you some numbers. You'll get 2.5 years cutting 30 yards a week with the Home
It's
Pro.
about hours, isn't it? Mostly. I don't know how the hours work. Like how many
Well,
hours you get out of a mower.
we're just
but-
going to do the simple math. 30
Okay.
yards a week with both mowers, it's going to be the same hours. The commercial pro is not going to outlast the true pro. When
Well,
somebody's
I would hope not, because it's significantly more. For
that's my point. So
for
if
a
you
pro.
took out those Egos zero turns, the each steer or whatever, and you try to put them to commercial use, it's like taking a 30-inch Time Master, the regular one that's built for maybe about 70 hours a month cutting. That's really pushing it. Whereas you could take the commercial 30-inch Toro lawnmower that's built for commercial use, and you can run that 10 hours, 12 hours a day.
So I know a lot of guys that actually do use the Time Masters in commercial because they don't like because they appreciate the personal pace that's on it.
Yeah,
And some of the creature
and it's a little bit
comforts.
lighter.
Yeah.
But
So-
they don't last as long. Go to any commercial shop and you'll see those in the shop more if they use them for commercial use.
Oh yeah, well they're not made for commercial.
They're not
That's what I
made
was
for
saying.
it.
So back to my original point was I could buy 7 Ego mowers by the time I only had to buy one Toro. If I could get the Ego mower if I could get 2 Ego mowers to last one season, that means I could go 3.5 years by buying 7 Ego mowers. Do you think I would get 3.5 years out of the Toro grandstand with the giant battery on it, or is that battery going to go
You should
bad?
get about 5, 6, 7 years out of it. That's a Tesla battery in there. That's not the regular.
Is it? I don't know. I haven't studied it.
High-end battery. So here's the deal. You buy the initial cost is $34,000. They're gonna come down, but
Yeah,
the
they will.
initial cost is $34,000. BYD can't get one for demo because soon as that battery more touches one blade of grass, it's reduced to $20,000.
Right. Just like a vehicle rolling off the lot.
Okay.
Like,
But the gas version of that is $15,000. I can get it for demo. They can clean it up. It's only gonna lose about $2,000 worth of value. You get what I'm saying? Now, go back to what you were saying. The battery grandstand, 5 or 10 years from now, and this is me doing some research, they're gonna have to start selling it tool only, because that battery should last 5, 8 years. It should. Now, I'm not talking about you using it every single day of your life or this and that. You got to have options when you get a mower like that. That cannot be your primary. Because if it goes down, a lot of these shops are not set up to fix the battery. Even though it's a plug and play, they can get the battery out, but it's components in that thing that's not in the gas. Gas is still easy to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas electric, I'm going to give you an example. You see all the battery mowers I got. One of them went bad. Sat in the shop for 6 weeks. Couldn't fix it. They had to throw it away. They sent me another one. but I lost 6 weeks of mowing.
Right. If you're down 6 weeks and that's your primary mower,
Well, they should give you a loaner at that.
You're in a bad.
Yeah, but
you're
who's
in
going to give
way.
you a battery loaner?
Well, right. So yeah, listen.
You get what I'm saying?
The professionals have not adopted battery technology. You won't. You
They
can go
hate
to
it.
you can go to every dealer and they'll have some battery stuff on the wall for trimmers and stuff. But I don't know if they have any battery mowers. Here's the thing: by the time that Toro, this is my prediction, by the time that $34,000 Toro comes down to the $15,000 mark in whatever 7 or 8 years, by then robot mowers are going to be so good that pros will just go and they'll either do it one of two ways. They'll either have one mower that's mapped to all their customers, so they'll just go to they'll go to that property, set the mower go, and do the trimming, and it does. And, edging, and then by the time they're done with the trimming and edging, that mower has finished mowing. They pack it up and they go to the next one, and it's mapped for every customer. There's are they called Nexmo? I might be speaking out of turn. That may not be who they're called. Anyway, there's a company that's developing that. Or the other one is you get the customer to buy their own, and so it's whatever it is, $2,000 up front. I'll install it for you, and every week when I come here, I'm going to weed whack and service that mower for you, but it's your mower. That's why I think Toro putting all this money into this $34,000 grandstand is a colossal waste of money.
Well, and Toro, that's
my prediction.
That's not unique to Toro. Not to take a dump on Toro. All of these big companies are doing that.
Yeah.
Ferris has Gravely, all of these companies are coming out with these battery
But here's
mowers.
the issue. I know we're talking about the lawnmower. Let's talk about the dealer. The dealer is going to go through issues because if you start dumping battery tech on me, and these guys don't want it. In Georgia, our governor signed a law saying that no municipality can force you to use battery lawnmowers. Opposite of California.
Right.
So all the landscapers boo to Georgia. You get what I'm saying? But the dealer is the one that's going to suffer because if you coming out with this tech, and me, Alan, and Goodyear, we want new tech every 3-4 years because we keep watching the influencers get the free equipment, this and that, and we think that we can just go out and buy it. You can't upgrade tech that fast, and you got a dealer still holding on to all your old tech because now his profit goes because he got to get rid of it.
See, but I think that the old tech as far as dealers servicing small engines, I think your skilled labor for servicing small engines, I think that's dying.
That's going bye-bye.
Like, there's not a lot of people there's not a lot of people in their 20s that are coming in that are able to work on small engines.
Nope.
So I think as the old labor dies off and retires and exits the workforce, as battery technology evolves, these become less of a manual labor.
Yeah, it's just disposable. Throw this away and replace it.
And more of a tech type thing, which is what these 20-somethings and younger, they're going to be more tech-minded to work on the technology that's the battery tech compared to the small engines and cleaning a carburetor or figuring that kind of stuff out.
All right, I'm gonna tie all this up because I know we got to go. But go to what you were saying. Junior know how to cut grass because I'm his daddy. Most of these kids out there don't know how to cut lawns. Period. How did I learn how to fix my black truck when I had it for 20 plus years? All my lawn equipment because I was hands-on. When it broke, I had to fix it. Mm-hmm. The new equipment that's more high-tech and kids like that don't know how to fix. We go back to what you're saying. They can't go to small engine repair schools because they're not interested in that stuff. So the mechanics there, that's why you see it's $76 an hour and all this and that. So they can pay him $40, they can keep the other $35, whatever it is. The workforce is just not coming along like it used to. So it's now, if I can't pay these guys, I got to figure out a way to still run my business. So now I got to go back to what you were saying. Okay, I got to figure out a way to get a robot mower, show up. All I need is a tech that knows how to trim this and that. Now, if you ask that tech anything about that mower, he ain't going to know nothing. Goes back to True Green Kimlon. Those techs don't know nothing. They just got a certain product, put this down, go on about your business. That's where everything's going. That's why I keep telling these young landscapers, you're going to have to adjust your equipment, the battery the battery products. Now, the weed eaters and stick edges and stuff, that's taking off. A lot of guys, blades of grass, he uses it and all this and that.
Yeah, he's definitely cutting edge.
Yeah,
literally.
so
Right,
that tech is going to go forward.
He's been using robots too. He's got robots on
Right,
and
that tech,
commercial properties.
the handheld tech is there.
Yeah,
The batteries are there. There's companies that are coming out like Crest that have faster recharge times, that have figured out those issues and have gotten past those. That tech's there.
Yep.
But the big hurdle is still like, well, as far as mowers go, why would I spend $20,000 more for something that does the same thing?
Exactly.
And until these companies can get past that and figure that out, I don't think you'll see mass adoption of that technology through the landscape.
I talk to landscapers all the time, and that's the last thing they would start.
Right.
We'll talk about it.
But a blower or a trimmer, shoot.
That's going to be done.
Listen, because if you've got a 2-cycle engine that's starting to go, the last thing you want to do is pull up on a house and crank and crank and crank and crank, and you can't get it started. Dude, you slap a battery on that sucker and it's ready to go.
When we get the properties, I got a BR 600 and an 800 C. That's the one with the cord in the back. Junior won't use the 800 because it's too heavy and it's powerful. The 600 he'll use, but his favorite tool of choice is a battery blower, handheld. These are properties that are maintained so we don't have a lot of debris.
Right, you're not talking about huge leaf cleanups
no,
or something
nothing like that.
that.
Nothing like that.
But listen, if you're doing a maintenance mow, you show up on a 5,000 square foot property, you don't need a BR 800.
Nope.
Yeah, just blast it right off with
Dude, I mean, a handheld blower is whoop, 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 whoop. You're done in 10 minutes and you're gone.
We're gone. He'll use it, slam dunk it in the truck. Like, yeah, let's go.
Right. Battery. I mean, and the nice thing about that, obviously, is with it being battery, you just pick it up and blow. You don't have to crank it up. And then, okay, well, hey, this guy, his newspaper's in the way. Let me move the newspaper. You set down the blower. You don't have to worry about it idling dead and then cranking it back up. Like you're ready to go.
Yeah. And believe me, I get sent so much equipment. I got plenty of batteries. That's never been an issue. But when you find a good mower, because it's all going to start from the mower. Most people, they out looking for mowers. All right. So if they get the mower, they happy with it, then they start buying the weed eater and all that good stuff. Now you got 5, 6, 7 batteries. That's going to solve that issue where people talking about where the battery doesn't last. There are no batteries in homeowner lawnmowers that's going to last 12 hours a day. You got 30, 45 minutes of good runtime. But when you buy into their platform, now you got endless hours of runtime. Mm-hmm. Greenworks, when I first started using them, I was trying to get people to understand this. You'll never run out of battery with this lawnmower. This is how it works. You get 2 batteries. You got a fast charger that comes with it, a dual fast charger. When that first battery goes dead, take it off, put it on the fast charger. You still got 30 minutes on this battery.
Okay, so that one drains one down fully, then drains the other one.
Then
they don't all
over.
Do that. Some of them drain them all equally.
Like the Milwaukee, I think
that's how my ego
dries
does too.
off pulls power from both. That's so they can just get more power to the blades.
Right.
But once that die, you put it on a charger, you run it with this battery. All right, when you get close, and the good thing about the Greenworks is they have a meter on top of the handlebar where you can see it.
You can see it, yeah.
All right, so when that one is almost dead, you simply just go get the other battery and put it in. Now, people say, well, you still had to stop. I stopped with my gas lawnmower.
Right, you run out of gas, same thing.
Run out of gas, or you need to take a break or something, but a 2-minute stop is not going to diminish the value of the intended purpose. Right. Now, what I do recommend, I told all the battery lawnmowers that I work with, companies, your lawnmower needs to come with 2 batteries. Or you need to have a hellified battery that's going to last an hour or something. The one I had that lasted the longest on the single battery was the Ego Select Cut. And mine came with 7, I think it's 7.5 amp.
7.5, yeah.
All right, they got a 10 amp too, if I'm not
They
mistaken.
got a 12 amp hour battery.
Okay, now they got 12. All right.
That sucker's a beast.
But they're not shipping those batteries with it because the money is not in the lawnmower. The money is to get you to buy the $500-$600 battery.
Sure, that's the idea. They want to all these companies. We were talking about Ryobi earlier. Ryobi.
I used to call it Ryobi.
Ryobi. Well,
I remember those BYD videos.
Yeah.
Here's the Ryobi.
The thing about those is they're it's like buying action figures. That's how I look at it. When I was a kid and I'd start buying G.I. Joe action figures, you got to buy them all, right? So you collect them all. Or Star Wars action. That's how Ryobi is. Like you can't just buy the lawnmower. Now they got a fan and they got a what
you
a
just
sump
said.
pump and a pressure washer. They got all this stuff, and I'm like, well, I already got all the batteries,
Right.
man.
Then next thing you know, you're like, well, they have this.
You're on the
they got a-
platform.
Right. Then you're like,
You're on the
well,
platform.
they have a grease gun. I only grease things.
I still
I
gotta have
got
it.
one grease zerk in my house.
but listen, I can't ever get my stupid grease gun to work right. But man,
All right,
might as well buy that
I'm
too.
gonna tell you this. I know we gotta go.
Well, that's why I don't buy Ryobi, just so you know, because I'd be
Listen,
in the poorhouse.
don't say that because you got to hear the story first. They sent me the first crosscut. All right, the 2-wheel drive, 2 6-amp batteries. All right, I'm impressed. Use that. Didn't use it as much when I first got it because I had to do testing on all these other mowers. So standing line Ryobi. Start using it. I was like, wait a minute, it's pretty nice. Cuts 1.5 to 4.5. Hey, BYD, we want to send you another one. We want to send you the all-wheel drive version, AWD. You talk about cutting low, it cuts 1 inch to 4 inch. I said, okay, there are no battery lawnmowers on the market that cut 0.5, rotary mowers that cut 0.5, 0.75.
Right.
You may think it does, but it doesn't. All right. The long story short, used that, fell in love with it. I mean, it's a monster. That's the only lawnmower that I use that could cut 17.5 with 2 batteries, and I got this taste of battery still left at the end. Charges pretty fast. None of them do real well in the heat. The Greenworks does for some reason. It can take that heat, but all the other ones, it get 95.
They get overheated?
Yeah, they start shutting off on you, this and that. But long story short, I got those. I got the Ryobi air pump for a bicycle, my truck, anything. I got a Ryobi fan. We take that out when we cutting grass when it's hot.
Yep.
I got a Ryobi LED light. You get what I'm saying? Then
They're doing it right.
A couple of months ago, not last month, I bought the Ryobi scrub brush to clean my carpet.
Yeah.
I'm
They have a
hooked.
scrub brush for
Yeah.
that.
Hey,
No, they got everything. They got stick vacuums.
They have everything.
like
See, I mean, that's where they're really,
see,
and
that's
you get
what-
hooked, man. I'm
right.
telling you, I love it.
Colt, get
Colton,
down.
get down.
But that's where I think Ryobi's got it. They've got it understood because they say, hey, you know what? Once BYD is bought in, then he's a customer for life.
For life.
Because we say, hey, you know what? You know what we noticed you didn't have? This vacuum. And you're like,
Okay.
you know what? I already got the batteries.
Now-
so
okay.
now I don't even need to buy a battery. I can buy the cheaper version of that,
Yep.
and I'll use that. Okay, well, hey. Next thing you know, they're going to be making coolers.
They have a cooler.
Do they?
Yeah, they have a
See?
cooler.
They have a cooler. Hey, but go back to what you were saying. BYD, we know you love us so much. We want to send you a hedge trimmer. I use that. BYD, we noticed you've been using this other blower. We want to send you ours. It's a backpack handheld blower with holds 3 batteries.
Oh, because the backpack is just batteries?
It's just
yeah,
batteries.
Yeah, I've seen those. That's pretty cool.
But do you get what I'm saying?
Right.
So
that's what I said.
it's
They're
addictive,
smart. They're
Yeah.
smart.
Super
and
smart.
listen, I want to talk about real quick. Just I know you want to wrap up, but
I don't want to.
Well, 'cause it's-
talk all day.
Hey, well, we're going to go to my house. You want to, I need somebody to cut my lawn while
Yeah,
you're
we
here.
got to go cut this grass. y'all.
how I want to know, and this is marketing or whatever. How has Ryobi gone from being they used to be the bottom of the barrel?
Listen,
now their stuff is great.
Listen, I said this when I used it the first time, and I said it on camera. I said, I'm going to be real with you. Ryobi used to be trash.
I remember the blue Ryobi
Yeah.
tools, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll
They
tell you when
sucked.
I'll tell you when it happened. It's when because Ego used to be in Home Depot.
They did just a couple of years ago.
Right. And so Ego is now exclusive. And I have to disclose, Ego is my sponsor.
Okay.
So Ego is now exclusive with Lowe's and Ace.
Yes.
And so I think when that happened, that's when Ryobi said, okay, we're going to step up our game now, because Ryobi was always known as the second tier, the cheaper, the not as quality. So they just were like, well, there's a hole now in Home Depot, so they just brought everything
They
up.
bought all
good
the
for
space.
them.
If you go to the battery lawnmowers,
They
they
own the
have
space.
6 lawnmowers Ryobi.
Yeah.
If you when you first walk in, that first aisle that they show you everything, it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They have Ryobi days that get you hooked onto the platform.
Yeah, they're smart.
That got me hooked. I got 18-volt and 40-volt batteries everywhere in the house.
And it works.
Yeah.
And their stuff works great, but good on them for seeing the hole and saying, hey, you know what? We've always been thought of as a lower tier, and they're still kind of, when you talk to professionals and people doing contract work, they still kind of crap on it, but from my experience,
I've been seeing a lot more people use it.
In the last few years, my experience says, listen, I'm a DeWalt guy. I've always been a DeWalt guy.
Yeah.
I've always had the yellow and black tools.
Mm-hmm.
The tools that I've used from Ryobi are every bit as good as the DeWalt tools that I've used.
And DeWalt has lost space shelf at
because
Home Depot.
Because if you're Home Depot and you're saying, hey, this is the company that we're putting all of our money behind, and they're producing tools every bit as good, why would we? They probably have a better better profit off of those tools, because Home Depot is the exclusive distributor for them.
Yeah.
So
and then they're getting a lot of free marketing from BYD. So
well, I went to Ryobi Field Day a couple years ago.
I remember that.
I said, I was impressed with everything I saw.
Yeah, I think that's why I saw you use that first, the one with the little joystick on it.
I didn't like that. I haven't seen a lot about that.
I saw there's a guy in my neighborhood that just bought one.
Does he?
That's the first one I've seen in the wild.
It looks like a mobility scooter. I can't do it. I just sorry, Ryobi.
Here's something
I can't get behind it either.
Ryobi, Home Depot, these guys need to fix. I'm always in Home Depot and Lowe's. I like Home Depot a tad bit more. Well, whoever pays the most. But Home Depot is based in Georgia, Arthur Blank. I'm a Falcon fan. It is what it is. I support anything that's ATL or Georgia. Mm-hmm. All right. So long story short, when I'm in there, the one thing I've been noticing, and it's been going on for years, your regular lawnmowers used to always sit outside. Now we have all this batterium, lithium mowers and all this and that. They're sitting them outside in the rain, in the elements. So when you go buy one, do not buy one that's been outside.
I would never buy one that was sitting outside.
No, never buy one. If you can get it that's on the inside, get that one. Make them take one off the showroom floor.
That's what I would always do.
Right, you say, I want that one. I don't care how many butts have sat on it.
I don't care. I can wipe that clean with some Lysol. But sitting out there in the sun and element, that's if I was doing business with a company, that would.
It is a bad look.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
Yeah.
Especially when I get out there and I'm showing you all the rusted this and that. It's not intentional, but it's something that as a consumer.
Well, because I wouldn't leave it out in the rain when I owned it. So why are you leaving it out in the rain before I own it?
Because they don't have the storage area. They don't have a specific indoor building that's designed for this. Where we keep our lawnmowers. And the other thing is they got to watch my videos, your videos, and everybody else's videos to find out how they work, because you can't go to a Home Depot and Lowe's and they take you on a joyride with the $3,000 lawnmower you're about to spend your money on. You go to a commercial dealership like Campbell's Hardware and Equipment. I want that one. They'll take you outside and let you show you everything.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's why I recommend people buying a mower, go to a dealer if you want.
Right. Yeah. If you're buying a mower that
a dealer carries, go buy from the dealer.
Yeah, if a dealer has it, absolutely
go to the dealer.
Yeah, I used to buy my super recyclers from dealers because that was the only place you could get them. I don't know if it's the same way, but when I buy a Toro super recycler, that was a dealer only model.
I don't see super recyclers in the Home Depot or Lowe's. I only see them at dealers. I haven't looked in a while.
Yeah. Right. But the other thing is, if you buy a mower that's sold at a dealer,
wait, go back. I see the regular ones.
Right. I know those are Home Depot,
but not the battery.
The super recycler was always reserved for dealers. I don't know if they've changed that.
Right. But so what I was saying is, if you buy a mower that's sold at a dealer and sold at a Home Depot or a Lowe's or Ace or whatever, and it breaks down and you have to service it, which Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace, they don't service mowers,
Ace
right?
does.
Well,
Ace services.
Do they?
Yep.
So, well, if you
Yeah,
take it,
yeah. And Northern Tools, they'll service the equipment you buy from them.
Now, I don't know if it's every Ace, but I know like the Gus Box Ace up there in Northwest Indiana, they have a great service
I don't
department.
think it's every Ace. The newer Aces don't have
the
all
Ace
those
right
service
here around the
departments.
corner, I don't think
He
it
doesn't
does.
Crowder's here? Okay, so some do. I do know that the one in Indiana does.
Right, but what I'm saying is if you buy that mower from Home Depot and you go to take it to your dealer, you are not going to get the same kind of service out of that dealer as you would if you would have bought it from them.
All right.
Like they just don't, they're not going to care about you.
Understandable.
Yeah, and I get that. So, but if you had the option to buy it from a dealer, I would support a local family-owned dealer over a Home
All day
Depot. Absolutely.
Here's what I suggest. If you're buying any type of equipment, just see if there's a dealer around. Now, some people don't want to pay the dealer price. The dealer price may be about $40, $50 more than what it is in the store.
Is it? I don't know. Is it?
Some places it is. I've seen that.
I thought they'd protect them that way.
It's a little bit higher, but technically the brand you're getting at the dealer is supposed to be different from the one in the store.
Now, I heard that's not true.
I'm not gonna say it, but I was about
Well,
to.
because it makes I don't know how to me if I'm Toro,
If you're buying
really
the same
weird.
model,
Yeah, it would be expensive to have a different line to run dealer.
It's not going to be a different line. It's just going to be a different model number.
right? So
It's
that's
going to
what
be
I'm
the
saying.
same model.
If
It's
you're
just going to be
buying-
a different number.
If you're buying a ABCD 1, 2, 3 model from Home Depot or a dealer,
It should be exactly
it should
the
be
same.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
And if your dealer's telling you that it's different, they're probably just blowing smoke up your butt to try to make you buy it from them.
But you know why they do the number different? So when you bring it in the service, they know it came from a dealer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you buy from a dealer, the dealer I buy from, anything new you buy, they register the product for you right down on the spot.
Right.
All right. If you buy it from that dealer and you have issues with that particular piece of equipment, you get priority over people who didn't buy from them but bringing equipment to them.
Well, and that's, I mean, if we're going back to the professional, most professionals will buy the brand that has the closest dealer to where their route is.
Yep.
So be like, I'm a Toro man, I'm a Ferris man. Well, you can be a Ferris man, but if there isn't a Ferris dealership within 100 miles of you, you'd be stupid to purchase that.
Right.
Because where are you
Even
going to
if-
get it?
even
Well,
if it's-
unless Ferris is owned by Toro and they can all overlap. But you get what I'm saying, right?
Right.
You want to
Yeah.
you want to have a dealer
Where
close
you can get
by.
the parts and stuff. People ask me about that. Why do you use Toro? I said I used to use Xmark when COVID happened, shipping issues, delays, plants closing. So Toro took advantage of that moment to force their products out even more. But I ended up getting a 52-inch Z-Master, the 36-inch Pro Line, and the 21-inch Toro commercial mower with the Honda engine on it. The reason I got the other two, even though this one uses 3 blades, the 52, the 36 uses the same blades.
Oh, okay.
So now I don't have to worry about getting different blades.
Right. You
this
just
and that.
know I got all these same blades
Yep.
on hand.
I got 5 Toro dealers on my route. Anything goes wrong, I got a dealer.
Right, you're 5-10 minutes
Yeah,
away from
that's
the
the
dealer
main
at all
thing.
times, and that's what makes
Yeah.
sense.
The guy asked me, well, why don't you get a Bad Boy, this and that? I said, first of all, Bad Boy is, don't get me wrong, they may,
They have
if I'm
those
not
at Tractor
mistaken,
Supply, I think.
yeah, that's the only place I've seen them. Tractor
Yeah.
Supply, along with Greenworks there.
They look cool.
But if I'm not, who did Toro just buy? Was it? It wasn't Bad Boy. It was another major.
I can't remember. I remember seeing.
But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they bought somebody recently.
Bought somebody who's kind of big. But you buy your equipment based on what's serviceable in your area.
Right.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about equipment and that kind of stuff, I will say a couple years ago I worked with Aaron's,
Yeah.
Aaron's Gravely, same company basically.
Okay.
And
Don't they make Ferris also?
I don't think so. I think that's a different company. But so
Okay.
they
No, that's
There's a bunch of them that are all
Yeah.
commingled. now.
right.
Yeah.
But so they are sold. Their homeowner, residential models are sold in Lowe's, and they're also sold at the dealer. And one of the things that I found was super common from this mower that I was using was people were buying them from Lowe's, and they were having problems with them because they were assembled incorrectly. Because when it comes to Lowe's, when a mower comes, it comes in a crate, right?
Yep.
And you got to put it together. You're not putting together all of it, but there's a lot of components
that you got to put on.
Your controls have to be put on. Your seat has to be put on. All that kind of stuff. and they were being put on incorrectly, and they were having issues with them.
Correct.
Whereas if you bought that from a dealer,
don't have to
that
worry
dealer,
about that.
you know they're going to put it together correctly because that's what they do.
Exactly.
It's not just some 17-year-old walking off the street that they say, "Hey, we got these mowers, go put them together."
Yep.
It's a guy that deals with these mowers day in, day out. It's probably your maintenance guy who's certified on these mowers,
There you
putting
go.
these mowers together.
And if you buy, I know we got to go, Al. If you buy from the big box store, you got 29 days to tear that thing up before you can take it back to the store. Day 31, you got to deal with the deal.
Right,
The manufacturer. You got to deal with the manufacturer.
Hey, go back to Toro or
Exactly.
or whoever. You
So
bought
that
it from.
process in itself is a nightmare. I'm here to tell you. So you buy it from the store. I tell anybody, don't buy your husband a lawnmower gift and he got to wait 3 months to open it up. You get it for him the day before his birthday and go out there and drive the crap out of it to see if anything wrong
If he
with
likes it. Or if he just doesn't like
If
it.
he doesn't like it, you can take it back. But day 31, that's yours. The dealer is a little bit different. Not saying they're going to take it back, but if anything tears
they're
up,
gonna do it. They're going to do what they
gotta
can to
do.
make it right.
Exactly.
So Toro acquired the Intimidator Group in January of 2022, and that is Spartan Mowers.
Spartan
Okay,
mowers.
that's what it was.
Spartan
So
mowers.
listen
I
to
thought-
this.
yeah.
Listen to this. The Intimidator Group is an Arkansas-based company founded in 2013. So only 10 years.
Yeah.
And they got it. I mean, I'd seen their displays at
Those
at
are the ones-
expo. They look freaking
With
cool.
the guns
With
on
the
them and all
tracks
that.
and the
Yeah, they
grids
did
on
really
it.
well with the look and the
Yeah.
feel. I don't know how good a quality they are, but 10-year-old company acquired by Toro. Now listen to this. They were focused on building greatness. The Intimidator Group family includes Spartan mowers, Intimidator UTVs, Envy neighborhood vehicles, Bad Dog accessories, Groundhog Max, and Gourmet Guru grills.
So I wondered
So
if
Toro's
it's a complete
making grills
outdoor
now.
It's a complete outdoor brand. But yeah, the Spartan mowers definitely look cool. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with
So
that
I wonder
brand.
if Toro is going to leave their infrastructure alone, or will they come in and say, "Well, we're going to take that off the Spartan mower, put it on
Right.
this one."
I'd
Just
be
like
interested-
not Echo, Xmark
yeah.
and Toro. If you
Yeah,
buy
they
Xmark,
share.
they
Yeah,
got,
those are the two sister
they
companies,
share,
right?
but the
Yeah.
the Xmark has a jack stand, right? A circle jack stand that you can jack it up. The Toro, the commercial ones, don't have it on there.
So the Titan does. The Titan
The
has a
new-
little
Small circle, what you call them?
Yep, and you just put the jack under there.
Okay, but they was keeping that, trying to keep it separate
Yeah.
because
No.
I'm not gonna say you diminish the Xmark brand, but
Yeah, you got
That's-
it's unique selling proposition.
exactly.
Yep. All right, boys, let's wrap this up. We're going to go mow my lawn now. So for
All
those of
right.
y'all listening, hope you learned a little something here. Mike, before you go, tell them where they can find you at.
Really 3 places, but 2, Bermuda Grass Central on YouTube. All right. Then we got Bermuda Grass Central on Instagram. We got Bermuda Grass Central on Facebook. We got B_G_Central on X, Instagram, Twitter, whatever they call it now.
X now.
Yeah, X. And just so you know, you guys who like to barbecue, you like barbecue?
Hey, I follow you. Grilling
Okay.
with BYD.
See, there you go. I got a barbecue channel also.
I didn't know that.
This,
All right.
this is new.
Yeah, it's pretty new.
Okay, well, you're talking to a guy over there that bought a Blackstone, used it once, and sold it on Marketplace like a week later. But
I cook on my Blackstone. How often do we barbecue, Junior? Like twice a week now? Yeah.
I have a Traeger, but I have been curious to get a Blackstone, but more of a portable one that I can take out to the beach. That's how
Okay.
I wanted to do
Yeah.
it. But all right, I'm gonna watch then. So you have a Blackstone
Yeah.
or something? Okay, well I'll learn from because I don't know how to cook on one of those.
Grilling with BYD.
I'm just like every other man. I'm like that looks really cool. Like I could be like I'm at the Waffle House.
I have
Hibachi
a-
chef.
You know what I mean?
a 4-burner Blackstone, a Brunswick pit ball smoker. That's the one with like 4 chambers in it. It's real tall. Biggest one they got. Then I got a Pit Boss Memphis grill. That's the one with the charcoal, gas, and an electric oven on it, all in one unit.
Woo.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'll definitely start watching it. So. All right, so y'all check it out. I'll put links in the description below. Also, make sure you check out Mike. And if anybody is wondering, BYD stands for the Big Yard Dog. Just want everybody to know that.
DAWG.
That's right.
Get it right.
Go Dogs.
All right, guys. So can I close it out?
Close it out.
You're tuned into Bermuda Grass Central with BYD. This is Michael Bowman, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, y'all. So hope you enjoyed that. Again, I think it's fun to get a little bit more behind-the-scenes information on one of your favorite YouTubers, Mike, a good friend. Looking forward to seeing you at the Equip Expo this year. And we're actually bringing a lighter crew this year and going to have a little bit less going on. But that way, hopefully, I can enjoy the show myself this time and get out and do a lot of things with some of my friends, including Mike Bowman. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Got a lot more fresh content coming up, including that pot planting plugs video. Man, did that come out not like I expected. But definitely identified some mistakes I made that I think may have contributed to it, and have already replanted and got video number 2 coming. But you'll see video number 1 coming out here sometime in the next couple 2-3 days. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Have a great rest of your week, and enjoy the most. See ya. Bye.